Starting to the top right, we have the Zerg player for LGM down a map in this group already. It is
LGIM Kangho.
Kangho, aka Zira, the one and only. Going up against the Protoss this time. He lost against the Terran, he lost against Jakji. Can he defeat the Protoss? To the bottom left of Star Station, we have in blue for Team FX Open.
FXO Hurricane.
This is his debut in the group. And nobody knows, of course, how well he's going to do here just yet. He hasn't shown us anything. And this is the matchup he will be playing the most, with 3 Zergs in the group. He only has to face 1 Terran. He's quite good in the Terran matchup, so we'll see how he does against Kangho here, someone who's so experienced.
Hurricane actually had a very interesting storyline. I mean, we talked a little bit about that he is not really such a known player, but he was actually in the Premier League already in the last season, but he lost immediately, and then he dropped down to the first round of Code A. He lost in the, of the Challenger League. He lost against Hero, against the CG Entus Hero in the first round with the 1-2. Dropped down to to Code B, to the Void, and then he won the seeding tournament. So he hasn't shown us this much just yet. I feel like earlier when we talked about it, we kind of didn't really focus on the point that he was in the Premier League already once, but that is a chance that he has right now, and he didn't leave a footprint there. So
yeah, that's the best point. I really like how you phrased that. He didn't leave a footprint. And the fact of the matter is that we can't really touch on that as a point. Just goes to show how little of a footprint he left. I think a lot of people are going, oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, he was, because when he was there, he did not do well. He did more poorly than most people expected.
Yeah. And then if you drop to the first round of the Challenger League and then you immediately lose, you're down to Code B and nobody really realizes what's happening to you. So now he has another chance. And we have a really cool build here for Kangho going into this matchup.
Yeah, double hatch before pool. And
pretty ballsy.
Pretty ballsy, but really good oftentimes against a gateway expand. Even goes gas before his pool. Balls to the wall here. He is really playing greedy. Is that Marine King switching to Zerg in there? That's what I'm wondering. At this point in time, he's definitely looking like he wants to take an early lead in this game.
Yeah, that is definitely something that we could see here. I mean, so far, keep in mind that Kangho is down 1 game. And that is actually, of course, the game I mentioned earlier, the game against Jakji that he lost. A pretty cool pick that is currently around. If you're just watching live and you're on Team Liquid, make sure that you jump into the live thread. And on the last page there, it's actually a pretty cool picture posted by DJ Helium from Sweden, a regular poster on Team Liquid, about Jakji and a statement about this group. So we're going to see if that's going to come true today, later on. So that might be the case. But the one factor that we haven't seen in the group yet is Hurricane. And we have been talking about him quite a bit already.
Yeah.
But let's see what exactly he's up to. He starts with the gateway opening here, goes into his expansion, and of course we have him now with a completed wall right out here at the front. And he's going to find out what's happening there. And then the main question arises, how is he going to deal with it? Because, to be honest, Kangho, even though he goes into such an aggressive, or not an aggressive, into such a greedy build, he's already getting gas and he's already working towards his defense.
Yeah, it was so greedy that now it's safe. You know what I mean? It's going to pay off.
Yeah.
It was so greedy with the gas and everything that now he's got to be feeling pretty safe. Yeah, you can't mine here until he gets a few more lings out and his queen. He even saves that drone though, and suddenly he makes this look like he's very glad that the Zealot is here. He's like, yeah, I'll kill you, that's fine. He will lose 1 queen, it looks like. Well, he should. He barely killed that. He almost lost his life in the process of that Mothership Core.
And that Mothership Core now dropped the Warp Prism to stay alive.
Yeah. Oh, Time Warp.
Yeah.
Drops a Warp Prism. The Queen's like...
That would be an amazing skill.
You know, Queens, when they see Warp Prisms, they go right for him, so I wouldn't blame him for doing that.
David, there's an idea.
David, there's an idea.
The Mothership Core drops Warp Prisms everywhere. Oh my god.
Yeah, this Forge here is coming out pretty quick for Hurricane. I think what Hurricane is going to do as a response is, rather than aggression, he's going to take a fast third. Because he kept his Mothership Core alive, he could try to move up here and be aggressive with his sentries, but without the Mothership Core, I mean, he has the Mothership Core alive, yes, but it's not going to be alive for much longer if the Queen's targeted. So to move up here and try to do a recall push, looks like that's what he wants to do. It's very risky though, and he only has 87 energy right now. He's not you know, he's not going to have anything else after he uses the recall. Just keep all these things in mind when he wants to take a third base.
I just don't see that do anything.
Yeah, I don't think so. There's enough queens, there's enough speedlings. It looks like just a fake to bait out some Zerglings, and he walks back. And that I do like.
Yeah, but against a 3-base Zerg with this early hatches, that's not gonna help you too much.
He needs a third base. He needs a third Nexus if he's not going to get any tech out. He hasn't pushed any tech out. He makes 3 more sentries, in fact. This is not ideal. Even if he force fields these Lings, he's going to lose 2 sentries here. Might as well recall. What are those 3 sentries doing? Oh, this is terrible for Hurricane. He's having a really rough start here.
And he's losing another one. Another sentry goes down and the recall. Yeah, he's going into 5 gates now. That's a bit of a desperation move at this point. If you lose 3 of your sentries and you have the recall, the only saving grace that he has here is that it's not been scouted.
Yeah. I just don't know if he has the swag to pull it off.
Yeah, there are certain Protoss players who will run with such a build and will just swag through, but I'm not quite sure if Hurricane is the one.
Don't think so. I mean, this is just all the cards are stacked against him. He has an opponent who has gotten 3 bases up, uncontested, up to nearly 60 drones, has the Roach Horn finishing up, he's got the resources and the larva to bust those roaches out instantly, and he will be able to push this back. The Mothership Core as well wasted a lot of its energy earlier, so it doesn't have enough energy for time warps. He'll have maybe 1. Just 1 maybe, and he needs to even make more cannons and warp in sentries at home, which is never what you want when you're doing a push like this. You want to rush this out, you want to attack as fast as possible.
There are spine crawlers, there are roaches, the burrow upgrade is being started, and there's no detection on the map. That is not good news for Hurricane. He needs to make it happen with this attack, but even though we don't have roach speed yet, it's going to be so difficult, if not impossible.
Well, he gets a good trade against the Lings. That helps. That helps a lot, but he used a lot of force and energy to do so. The Spines are rooting. They're going to be done just in time. The roaches pop up.
Where's the transfuse? There it is. 1, 2, delaying it a little bit longer. Keep in mind, Burrow will be ready in a few seconds, and then he can keep those roaches alive a lot longer.
Time warp here not accomplishing a whole lot. The force field's much more important. They've immobilized everything underneath that time warp. And Hurricane is trying to push through here, takes out the Spines. His force fields are so good, he's doing a lot better than I expected. But again, the burrow is done, and he's not going to be able to kill those burrowed units without detection. And as soon as the rest of the roach pop up, he burrows them, or unburrows them, and now the sentries, they got nowhere to hide.
Yeah, the sentries are suddenly exposed, the reinforcements are moving in, he can use burrow 6 days to Sunday right now, can make sure that those roaches just heal up the energy once again, and that's exactly what he does. He's taken out another sentry. All of those units are just going down. The Stalker's being forced back. The Lings running in. We have the drones coming off the mineral line, and this is where Hurricane will realize that this is just not going to happen for him. He has no tech back at home.
Yeah, this is game over. No extra lives here. Starts a Twilight Council instead of typing GG. That is an alternative strategy. When you do a push like this and it does very little damage, usually you have to add both the Twilight Council and the Robo as he's doing now. He even has to warp in some safety zealots because he's scared that a few Lings are going to catch his army and kill him because he doesn't have a Mothership Core to recall with.
Most Protoss players in this situation will just tap out type GG and leave the game. Hurricane is trying to make it happen, but the reason why it's basically game over is because Kangho is currently on their tech. He has the first upgrades on the tap. He has speed for the roaches. He's on 3 bases. He has a good creep spread. He has defended the all-Inish attack from Hurricane, who has no tech. What Hurricane is doing now is trying to start this tech, but he's on 2 bases. He doesn't have a third. A third base will be delayed, and the only thing that could happen here is Kangho throwing it away.
Yeah.
Because right now he has 4 aces against nothing. There's not even a pair for Hurricane.
No, Hurricane is, you know, he's being downgraded to a tropical storm right now in this game. He's lost all of his power. He's lost all his momentum. He's stayed over land for too long, and soon just to be a severe thunderstorm at this point, and then eventually to go away. Right now, Kangho is the one who's controlling everything. He's taking a 4th base. He's got the infestation pit up. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if he went into Swarm Host because he's ahead and he could do that. But he doesn't have to do that. He could actually just add a few infestors and try to end it with even infested Terrans. With the lack of robotics, he even has to make a cannon before he can start his Nexus because the burrowed Zergling, just all these little things when you don't have robotics, they start to add up.
Yeah. It's this is why we talk about games like this or strategies like this being an all-in, because you just invest so many resources. You invest a lot of resources, so much time as well. You sacrifice your own tech to make it happen that your opponent, if he defends, will have a massive lead. Look at the double base that we have now going up from Kangho. He's going into a 4th and a 5th because he knows he can. And now he's moving in, trying to take down that army, but even if he doesn't make that happen, he has enough at home. He's going into Hive already.
Yeah.
He has Infestors now on the way. He's going into Pathogen Glands. And Hurricane can't even move.
He can't.
Good force fields here, and he has detection right now, so he takes on a few Roaches, but Roaches don't really scale into the late game all that well, so he's completely happy if they just buy him the time that he needs. He's like, well, I'm not trying to kill you here, all I'm gonna try to do is actually keep you on your toes.
And what definitely doesn't stay until the late game is relatively unupgraded gateway armies in this matchup. He's going to need the big robotics, the big walkers. He needs the Colossi. He's got 2 morals, and this push is strong. But Kangho has enough to hold this back. He will have 2 Infestors.
I think he's just going to sacrifice that hatch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, he's going to fight it. But he could even sacrifice it. There's no real reason for him to actually say, you know what, I have to take this. But he has immediately his first few bungalows. The base is down. He doesn't need it too much. There should be a recall at some. Actually, he doesn't really have to recall.
He doesn't have enough energy, I think, anyways. But
there come the Zerglings right now. Kangho is in position. Keep in mind, there is no Storm. There are no Colossi. This is only a gateway army with a little bit of immortal support.
He's already starting to rebuild his, well, maybe just actually send a drone to follow the Mothership Core. I thought he was trying to send that drone to rebuild the hatch. Infestor's exposed here, and if he loses these, that's really important because they're kind of the key of Kangho's armor right now. There's a time warp.
Yeah, we talked about it. The only thing how he could win a Hurricane, that is, if Kangho throws it, and if Kangho actually continues to lose his Infestors like this and not use them, he might.
Yeah, no infested Terrans, only a few fungals. They weren't the best fungals. Queens are going down here. He's trying to push his way through. The Blink Micro is good, though the Stalker's on the right side. The supply is evening a little bit, but it looks like he's lost his momentum here. The forward Warbands are so far away, Kel. They're all the way down there to the south, and that's the biggest problem here.
Yeah, he's losing so many of the Stalkers right now. Kangho actually, with a few missteps in Micro, especially with those Infestors, made it look a little bit closer than it was in the end. But now everything in terms of tech is gone for Hurricane. He's only relying on Stalkers here. We have the +2/+2 not only on the board, but soon to be done. And with more and more Zerglings streaming in and the Infestors, with a 4-base economy against 3, not even the gas is taking at Hurricane's 3rd. This is just looking worse and worse. There's still no robotic space. There is still no Templar Archive.
Yeah. And this is basically the 3rd base that Hurricane is using right now is just for a few extra minerals so we could have hit this next timing that he was going for with a few more immortals. It was smart. Smart idea, and it almost worked. But it mostly due to Kangho's micro mistakes. Now he has the time to get more Infestors, 6 of them out. 2/2 will finish. Yes, +3 is on the way, but he has no armor. And Kangho's probably considering right now taking the 5th base to the top left instead of taking it over on the right side because his creep is already extended over there. He can take a good engagement there. He gets Adrenal Glands right now that he has such a fast hype. He can even start 3/3. That's how ahead he is. He starts +3 Carapace immediately. Will start the attack if he hasn't queued it already, and he has. He's ready to go. He wants to fight again. This time he has his Infestors. Needs to micro them correctly, but he has so much energy built up this time.
It's just such a big problem for Hurricane that he doesn't have Colossi, that he doesn't have Storm, that he doesn't have anything that really helps him in the late game here. That's a big, big issue. The creep threat is getting worse for, better for Kangho, which is worse for Hurricane. It's just like Kangho is playing it super safe. He's going into Ultralisk Cavern. I really would like him to take a 5th base now even.
Yeah. Well,
what is that? Okay, first of all, what are those Infestors doing there? And second of all, what?
That was weird. That was definitely weird. But Kangho only losing 1. It looks like there. And
that army of Hurricane just can't go on creep.
It can't. You know, it's gateway only with a few immortals, 2 of them only.
And that's
not
the reason why.
And here we go. The Zerglings get through. There's not a good enough force field wave.
That's the reason why that army can't go into creep.
Yep. Well, it's staring at us right now, and Lucira taking him out here. He wants the 1-1, and Hurricane, he had a lot of prep time for this match, but no real way to describe it except sloppy, in my personal opinion. Just the way he opens up loses the sentries early on, struggles to transition, and Kongo plays the better game.
Yeah, the problem really for Hurricane was he lost the momentum and he had to recall and lost those sentries. That was a bit of a micro mistake. I don't think that he realized how many units there were already on the map for Kongo. But I have to say also that Kongo really had his spider senses tingling there. He built the spine crawlers before he realized what exactly was going on. He had a very good opening that helped him a lot and decreased the timing window for Hurricane a little bit. So Kongo had a couple of really good choices. It was not really Hurricane necessarily playing a bad game. It was just at points very unfortunate and losing a few crucial battles and moments, and then Kongo just making all the right choices, not playing too greedy with the 3 bases that he had. But Hurricane, I mean, he's very resilient. He's still trying to make something happen and just hoping for a mistake of his opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thought. Like, as we said earlier, after the failed attack in the beginning, most Protoss players would have left. He says, I'm going to stick in it here, I'm not going to make any mistakes right now, and I'm hoping for my opponent to make a mistake that I can exploit.
This first wave of Ultras is going to walk all over him. He will crush force fields, he will fungal, 3-3 is done, and Chitinous plating, all 3 of them lining up like clockwork. It's like boom, 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 3 upgrades, 3 Ultras, Spire transition just in case, and he has got a massive arm. Look at his creep spread, it's going in all different directions. This 3rd base that Hurricane is trying to take is a dream that's going to become a nightmare.
Those Ultras are preparing to take a massive dump on this Protoss army.
Oh yeah. We're talking at least 30 minutes here.
That's a pretty shitty game.
It certainly is. He's got so many queens for the transfuse as well. These Ultralists are going to become hero units. They will never die. I don't even think one single Ultralist will die in this fight.
I wouldn't go that far. We have a couple of Immortals being built, and Stalkers actually do a lot of damage if their damage is burst. But here come those transfuses that you talked about, and so far they are hero transfusers. And you're right, GG.
GG.
Before a single Ultralist bites the dust, Hurricane finally says, you know what? It's okay, I got the message. It was over earlier, but yeah, let's leave the game right now.
Yep, he says, I'm out. And that weird move out with the sentries, I feel like he just felt pressured to do that because Kongo got away with the 3rd base. He wanted to do something. He wanted to force Zerglings, and then he...
You know how that actually happened? The reason why we suddenly had those sentries going down was because he made an A move. Like, Hurricane made an A move down the ramp with forward with the sentries and the mothership core. But Kongo had a couple of Zerglings, just like 3 or 4 in the vicinity, and he started to move in from behind. 2 of the sentries, or no, actually 3 of the sentries, were too far forward to see that, so they didn't turn around and fire. But the other 2, they turned around, attacked, so they suddenly, that split the sentries. If all 5 sentries are together, he can use a force field donut to save them and then recall out. But then suddenly from the side, more Lings run in the reinforcements, and that attacks the both split army positions. And that's why he lost those.
Yeah. You know, I really feel he shouldn't have been out there with those sentries, but you're exactly right. That's why he lost them all.
It was risky, and in this particular scenario, he didn't pay attention to the minimap for a second or to his units. The sentries got split, and when you lose 3 sentries and the energy on the mothership core this early in the game, you're down so much gas, you're in a really, really bad spot, and that's what Kongo exploited here. That also worked against the timing idea that Hurricane had in this game. So for him, it was just a really bad start, not only in the game, but also into the group.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of people expecting a lot more out of him after we talked him up so much and he took so long to prepare, but he now has to play his 2nd game in a row, and he will be playing against Shine. And this is going to be the same matchup on a completely different map, though. Akalon Waste, very, very different the way it plays out. And I think that last game, it's not fair to judge Hurricane for that game because we didn't really get to see his style. He was forced into the 5-gateway edition because he lost his sentries. He knew there was no way he could hold a 3rd base. There was no way he could just add a robo. At that point, he had to do the all-in. And Losira expected it, defended. Kongo takes the game. Hurricane now playing the same matchup, but totally different map, and I think he needs a clean slate here.
For me, the last game was really about how Losira defended so well against the aggression, and he prepared so defensively against everything that could attack him early on. That was well done. Won him the game. But now we're jumping into a different Zerg versus Protoss. Shine up in the up and down group here against Hurricane now.